Hello and welcome to our next lesson on this topic of light. So last lesson we looked at the eye and how it works, and we also looked at cameras and how they work. Today we need to look at colour and why we see things in colour. So today's title, you need to write in your books as you would do any other lesson, is the word colour. By the end of the lesson you should be able to describe what happens when light passes through a prism. You should be able to explain how filters and coloured materials subtract light, and you should be able to predict how coloured objects will appear in different lights and filters. So write the title in your book and we can make a start. So the term white light is used for the light that we see around us. So white light. Now, white light is made up of the 7 different colours of light. So we can say light made up of the 7 colours of light. Now, we can remember this by using the word Roy Gibiv. Okay? This stands for the colours of the rainbow. So we can say that rainbows are formed when the 7 colours split and, as I says, we can use the sort of acronym Roy Gibiv. So we can put Roy Gibiv. What these stand for are red, orange, yellow, blue, green, blue, indigo, and violet. We're not doing it like that. Violet. Okay? These are the different colours that you see in a rainbow, and it is always in that order. You will always get red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Okay? Now, we can use what's known as a prism to give us the same effect. So if we add an image that I've prepared for us to use, if it'll come up, and we want the prism splitting light into different colours. Now if you look on this diagram, it is found on the PowerPoint that I've provided you with as well. We've got what's known as a prism splitting white light into these colours: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. Okay? So we can say that a prism splits white light into a spectrum. So our next keyword is the word prism. Prism, P-R-I-S-M. And a prism can be defined as the following. A prism is a triangular shaped piece of glass. A triangular shape or shaped piece of glass used to produce a spectrum of light. used to produce a spectrum of light. Now on our diagram here, this is our prism, so this would be the prism. Okay. Now our next keyword is the word spectrum. 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 Now, spectrum can be defined as a band of colours produced when light is spread out or dispersed by a prism. So, a band of colours produced when light is spread out by a prism. Is spread out by a prism. Okay, so we've said that a prism is a triangular shaped piece of glass used to produce a spectrum of light, and a spectrum is a band of colours produced when light is spread out by a prism. Now, just for your reference, on this diagram over here, our spectrum would be this here, the rainbow. Okay, that is our spectrum. So we've got the prism, which is the piece of glass, and we've got the spectrum, which is the rainbow colour. Now we can say, and I'm going to put this in red, that a prism forms a continuous spectrum by dispersing the light. Okay, so a prism forms a continuous spectrum by dispersing the light. The word continuous means that there's no gaps. If you look at this spectrum on the diagram, there's no gaps between the light. The red becomes orange, the orange becomes yellow, the yellow becomes green, the green becomes blue, and so on and so forth. So what we mean by continuous is that there are no gaps. No gaps between the colours. And what we mean by disperse is a posh word of saying to spread out. So disperse means to spread out. To spread out. Okay? Now, the reason that we always get this colour is due to refraction. When the light enters the glass block, the light is refracted. However, the different colours are refracted at different degrees. So the violet light is refracted the most and comes out of the glass block, out of the prism, at a greater angle, whereas the red is refracted the least. This is because red light has a lower frequency than violet. Okay? So we can say, and I'm going to put it in red because it's important, the light is refracted by the prism by the prism forming a spectrum. Now I'm aware that I forgot the G. Forming a spectrum, okay? And we can say that the red light has a lower frequency. I'll do it up here because I've got more room. So the red light has a lower frequency. Remember, that means that there will be less wavelengths than the blue or violet. So the violet light would have more wavelengths in the same area. So the final thing we can say is red light has a lower frequency than blue light. So we've gone over a lot on this page. We've said that white light is made up of the 7 colours of light. Rainbows are formed when 7 colours are split. Roy G. Biv tells us the different colours of the rainbow, or the different colours of light. We've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. We've said that a prism is a triangular shaped piece of glass that produces a spectrum of light. Here's our prism. And a spectrum is a band of colours produced when the light is spread out by a prism. Here's our spectrum. We then went on to say that a prism forms a continuous spectrum by dispersing the light. We said that continuous means there's no gaps between them, and disperse means spread out. And the reason it does this is because the light is refracted by the prism, forming a spectrum. We then needed to say, and you can add this if you've got room or write it somewhere else, that different wavelengths of light are refracted differently. Okay, so we said that red light has a lower frequency, therefore it's refracted less, whereas blue light or indigo or violet light has a higher frequency, therefore it is refracted more. So. Let's refresh our screen and move on to the next part. So we're going to talk now about adding colours, and then we're going to talk about subtracting colours. Okay, so if you could put the subheading please, adding colours, and underline it, and we're going to be using the following diagram that is on the PowerPoint. I'll just add it in here so we can see what I'm talking about. Make it a bit bigger than that. That'll do. And we'll put it up here. Okay. So we can make all of the colours of light from just 3 colours. These are known as our primary colours of light. So our next key word is the word or term, is the term primary colours of light. If I can just shuffle my papers. So our next key word is primary colours, and we can define primary colours as the colours red, blue and green. So the colours red, blue and green. Okay, now with just red, blue and green we can make all of the colours of light. So we can say with In fact, I'm going to move that over because it's a bit out of the way, isn't it? We can say with red, blue and green light, we can make all other colours of light. All other colours of light. So if you have a look at the diagram over here, this is a Venn diagram showing it. Our primary colours are around the outside. We've got red, blue and green. If we add green and red together, we get yellow. If we add red and blue together, we get magenta or violet. If we add blue and green together, we get indigo or cyan. Okay? These other colours are known as secondary colours. So we can say that secondary colours are colours produced when primary colours are mixed. Okay? Now, these include cyan, yellow and magenta. They have all got different names as well from the Roy G. Biv that I used earlier. However, you can go away and find that out yourself and write it down. So we can put that these include yellow, magenta and cyan. When we mix together red, blue and green, all of the colours of the rainbow or all of the colours of light, we get what's known as white light. So we can say, and I'm going to put in red because it's important, when we mix all three primary colours, comma, we get white light as a result. So the light that we see around us is white light. It's a mixture of these colours. Okay, so primary colours are red, blue and green. When we mix them together, we get yellow, magenta or cyan. These are known as secondary colours. And white light is a mixture of all three primary colours. Okay, so let's clear our screen and refresh it back to back and put the subheading subtracting colours. So we've spoke about adding colours together. Now let's put subtracting colours. Now if you want a particular colour, you can remove all other colours of light to get it. Okay? So filters can be used to remove colours from white light. Okay, so we can put light filters, and we can say filters used to remove colours from white light. From white light. And I've got a diagram which we can add to show this. So if we add this in, this is on your diagram, this is on your PowerPoint, sorry, so you can use it there as well. If you look, we've got white light going in. The filter absorbs all of the colours apart from red, because this is a red filter. Therefore, the light that comes out of the filter is red. Bless me. If we then go through a green filter, because we're only putting red light in, the green filter will absorb the red light. The only light that a green filter will let out is green. But because no green light's going in, no light will come out. Okay? So we can say, underneath here, and I'm going to put it in red because it's important, we can say that filters absorb all but one colour of light. So if you try to shine white light through a red filter, all of the blue, indigo, violet, yellow, green and orange light will be absorbed. The red light will pass through. If you look on this one, because we're trying to put red light through a green filter, the green filter will absorb the red light and not let anything else through. Therefore, no light will come through. Okay? Now, this is very similar to how we see different colours. So we can put the subheading, we can say, why are objects different colours? Why are objects different colours? And we can underline it. Okay. Now I'm going to add two images in that will help us. I'm going to add it below these images over here. First of all, I'm going to add this one. And I'm going to put it there. So when we see a red object or a blue object, the blue light is reflected from that object into our eyes. All of the other colours are absorbed. Black objects, like this black cat, absorb all colours of light. Therefore, to us, to our eyes and our brain, they appear black. So I'm going to put in red, because it's important, that black objects absorb all colours of light and do not reflect or emit any other colour. So this black cat appears black because it's absorbing all of the colours of light. It's not reflecting any. On the other hand, this white mouse appears white because it doesn't absorb any, but it reflects all the colours of light. Therefore, it appears white. So we can put another bullet point here, and we can say white objects reflect or emit all colours of light, appearing white. So that's important, okay? Black objects absorb all of the colours and do not emit any. Therefore, they appear black. Whereas white objects reflect or emit all of the colours of light, appearing white. Now, the question is, how do we see things in particular colours? And we can use this diagram here that shows how we see a red apple. Okay? Now, when we see a red apple, the white light hits the apple, all of the colours apart from red are absorbed, and the red light then goes into our eyes and it appears red to us. So we can say, I'm going to change colour so it breaks the board up a bit, that the red apple absorbs all colours of light apart from red light, which it emits. Full stop. We can then say that the red light goes into our eyes, so we see it as red. So we see it as red. Now let's assume that instead of a red apple, this is a yellow daisy. If the white light hits the yellow daisy would absorb all colours apart from yellow light, which would then be emitted by the daisy, and we would see it as yellow. So, subtracting colours, we can use light filters to remove colours of light from white light. If we use a red filter, the filter absorbs all colours of light, but lets out red. We could use different colours. Things appear black because they absorb all colours of light, emitting no other colours, so they appear black. Whereas things appear white because they emit all colours that bounce off them. Objects appear different colours, such as this red apple, because when white light hits the red apple absorbs all colours of light apart from red, which is then released into the eye of the person. Okay? So, what I would like you to do, I would like you please to have a go at these questions that I'm putting on the board now. In fact, they're on the. I'll put them on the PowerPoint. I would like you to have a go at these questions. I would like you to make sure that you've got a different coloured pen to hand so that you can answer the questions if you need to. And then press play when you're ready. Correct it as I go over the answers, and we'll do that in a moment. So, different coloured pen, correct the answers when we go over it. So, you should have had a go at those questions now. Let's start having a look at them. Let's get them marked. So, the first one, all you needed to do was to remove the incorrect word from the sentences and then leave in the correct word. So, the first one says, when white light goes through a prism, red light is refracted the least, and violet light is refracted the most. This is called dispersion. A green filter transmits green light and absorbs the rest. A cyan object absorbs red light, absorbs red light, absorbs blue light, and absorbs green light. A magenta object would look black in a green light. So it should have read, when white light goes through a prism, red light is refracted the least and violet light is refracted the most. This is called dispersion. A green filter transmits green light and absorbs the rest. A cyan object absorbs red light, absorbs blue light and absorbs green light. A magenta object would look black in green light. Let's have a go at these final two questions and then the lesson is done. So if we put this up in the top corner, so we've got plenty of room. So question 2 says, explain why a green shirt looks black in red light. So for 1 mark, you needed to say that the green shirt only reflects green light. So the green shirt only reflects green light. For your 2nd mark, you needed to say that it absorbs the red light and reflects no light, which we see as black. So we can say it absorbs the red light and therefore we see it as black. So a green shirt only reflects green light. If you shine red light on it, it will absorb the red light, not reflect anything, and therefore it will appear black. Question 3, explain in detail why you cannot have a white filter or a black filter. So this is a 6 mark question. Quality of communication is assessed. So you should have said that filters subtract colours from light. For a 2nd mark, you needed to say that you can't subtract a colour and still have white. You can't subtract a colour and still have white light. So you can't subtract a colour and still have white light. A white filter would look like a transparent material because white consists of all colours mixed together. So we can just say for this one that white light consists of all colours mixed together. Okay. You then needed to say, to see black, there must be no light reaching your eye. So to see black, no light must reach the eye, must reach the eye. You could have then said a black filter would absorb all colours. A black filter would absorb all of the colours. Would absorb all colours. And finally, for your 6th mark, you needed to say that a black filter would be an opaque object. Would be an opaque object. What we mean by that is it doesn't let any light through, so it would be like brick or wood. So for 6 marks, question 3, filters subtract colours from light. You can't subtract a colour and still have white light. Therefore, white light consists of all colours mixed together. You would need to have just a transparent piece of material, such as glass. To see black, no light must reach the eye. A black filter would absorb all colours, and therefore a black filter would just be an opaque object, such as brick or wood. No light would go through it. So, you should now be able to tell me what happens when light passes through a prism. You should be able to explain how filters and coloured materials subtract light, and you should be able to predict how coloured objects will appear in different lights and filters. I hope this lesson has been useful to you. If you have any questions, please either comment in the Google Classroom or drop me an email and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Please take care, and I will see you in the next video.